The echo of the slap cut through the opulent gala like a thunderclap. Crystal chandeliers trembled as if the room itself had flinched. Amelia Hartwell, the young heiress known more for her lavish spending than her judgment, froze in place, hand still in mid-air. Across from her, Marcus Vance, the black CEO whose reputation for intellect and composure preceded him, turned slowly. The red mark blooming on his cheek was the only sign that the slap had made contact. Everything else about him remained perfectly still. He did not shout. He did not move angrily. He simply stared at her, calm and unshakable, and the sheer presence of that stillness made Amelia's chest tighten. Moments ago, she had stormed through the ballroom, fueled by panic and misinformation. A high-stakes business deal had collapsed, and whispers of sabotage had reached her ears. She was convinced Marcus was responsible, that his meteoric rise in the industry meant he had blocked her family's billion-dollar venture. Acting on impulse, arrogance, and entitlement, she had delivered a slap meant to assert dominance. But now, confronted by his measured composure, she realized her mistake. Guests murmured, glasses clinked nervously, and the room held its collective breath. Marcus's eyes, steady and piercing, met hers, carrying neither anger nor humiliation, only unyielding authority. "Miss Hartwell," he said softly, each syllable deliberate, "you should always confirm the facts before taking action." The words were not just a reprimand, they were a verdict, clear and unflinching. Amelia's mind raced. She had assumed power meant immediate results, that privilege could override judgment. And now, in front of hundreds of witnesses, she had failed spectacularly. The air around them seemed electric, as if the universe itself was emphasizing the consequences of reckless pride. The slap had not only left a physical mark but exposed a truth she had long ignored. Strength is silent, patience is a weapon, and real power is earned, not inherited. Marcus's calmness became the gravity that pulled her into reality. She opened her mouth to speak, but no words came. Instead, he lifted his champagne glass with deliberate ease, placed it on a nearby table, and gestured toward the balcony. "Walk with me," he said, voice low, commanding, not as a request, but as a lifeline out of the chaos she had created. Trembling, she followed, aware for the first time that she was no longer in control, that her assumptions had backfired in a way she could never have imagined. The balcony overlooked the glittering city, but Amelia barely noticed the lights. The chill of the night bit through her designer dress, yet the cold was nothing compared to the realization dawning inside her. Marcus leaned against the railing, hands clasped calmly, radiating an aura of authority that made her feel simultaneously insignificant and exposed. She had always been used to commanding attention, boardrooms bending to her family's influence, reporters fawning, employees pretending to respect her judgment. But Marcus did not bend. He did not flinch. He simply waited, letting silence fill the space between them, a silence louder than any accusation. "You believed I sabotaged your family's deal," he began, measured and precise. Amelia nodded, unable to form words. "Everyone said it was you," she murmured. You blocked the acquisition." Marcus's eyes softened, not in pity, but in controlled resolve. "No, Miss Hartwell. Your father blocked the acquisition, not me." Shock gripped her. "My father? But he wanted that deal." Marcus shook his head slightly. "He wanted it until internal audits revealed mismanagement in your division. He asked me to review it, to ensure nothing was exposed publicly. That is why I acted, not against you, but for you." Her stomach churned. Every justification she had clung to crumbled. Her hand, the slap, the humiliation, everything felt both catastrophic and necessary at the same time. "So, all this time, I've been blaming the wrong person," she whispered. Marcus exhaled slowly. "Assuming guilt without evidence is dangerous. You've learned that tonight." The weight of his words pressed down on her like gravity. Every moment of entitlement, every assumption of superiority, every instant she relied on her last name, everything was laid bare. Her heartbeat raced. The slap she had delivered now felt like a mirror reflecting her inexperience, her arrogance, and the perilous naivety of youth. Marcus's calm was unyielding, but not cruel. He was a man who had built empires quietly, conquered challenges with precision, and understood the fragility of those untested by real power. You acted in anger, he continued, but what matters now is how you respond. Mistakes define us only if we refuse to learn from them. Amelia's mind spun, guilt and awe twisting together in a knot she had never known. She realized she had not encountered an enemy, she had encountered a mentor, a force far greater than herself, and the consequences of her impulsive actions were merely the first step toward understanding the depth of his authority. Amelia gripped the balcony railing, cold metal grounding her as she tried to process the lesson unfolding. Marcus remained steady, a monument of dignity and intellect. He didn't ridicule her, didn't threaten, didn't exploit her mistake. He simply delivered truth, quietly and irrevocably. You grew up thinking privilege alone could bend the world to your will, he said. I grew up learning that the world bends only for those who build leverage, not for those who demand it. His words were neither condescending nor harsh, they were incisive and piercing, cutting through the fog of her entitlement. Amelia's throat tightened, tears threatening to fall, but she held herself together. I was wrong, she whispered. Marcus's gaze softened slightly, not forgiving, not condemning, but acknowledging awareness. Yes. But recognizing your error is only the beginning. True growth comes from accountability, not apology alone. The gravity of his presence pressed upon her. She had imagined herself powerful, invincible, untouchable, but in reality, she had acted recklessly. Marcus's calm strength highlighted the disparity between her impulsive arrogance and his disciplined command. You want to change? He asked. Amelia nodded, words failing her. Then start by facing your own mistakes, not just blaming others. Leadership isn't a title, it's responsibility. The balcony became a crucible of humility, every word reshaping her perception of power and influence. Marcus's mentorship was implicit. By staying silent in anger and speaking in measured truth, he had taught her more than any lecture or reprimand could. She realized the slap, the embarrassment, and the confrontation weren't punishments, they were catalysts. A month later, Amelia would reflect on this night as the pivotal moment that reshaped her entire approach to business, relationships, and her own identity. Marcus had not only exposed the flaws in her understanding but had illuminated a path toward genuine growth, proving that power tempered with patience and intelligence far outweighs wealth and entitlement. As they returned to the ballroom, Amelia felt the eyes of the guests burning into her. But this time, she didn't hold herself with defiance or arrogance. She carried accountability. Marcus seamlessly returned to mingling with other business leaders, slipping back into influence with effortless authority. The murmurs followed her, but she no longer needed to impress them. She needed only to confront herself. Her father approached silently, placing a steady hand on her shoulder, heavy with expectation yet devoid of judgment. Tonight was lesson 1, he said. Amelia nodded, absorbing the weight of responsibility she had avoided her entire life. The gala, with all its wealth, glitter and gossip, faded into insignificance compared to the lesson she had received. In the weeks that followed, Amelia transformed her approach to business, immersing herself in ethics training, auditing practices, and transparency programs, determined to prove that her growth was real. Headlines would mock her early mistakes, but Marcus's quiet mentorship remained her guiding light. Months later at a different gala, they exchanged a brief nod across the room, not as heiress and CEO, but as two people who understood the true nature of power. Amelia no longer needed to slap anyone to command attention. She had learned that authority rooted in intelligence, patience, and accountability carried far more weight than privilege alone. And the night she slapped Marcus Vance would forever remain the moment that shattered her illusions, humbled her arrogance, and set her on a path to becoming the leader she had always pretended to be, but never truly was, until now.